and Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrindavan. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dear devotees, strange light, sorry about that. What can we do? All right, dear devotees. On a chilly morning, I'm here at your service. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangscha. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Maha Varanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tvije Namaha. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my morning obeisances, afternoon obeisances, evening obeisances, according to your location on planet Earth. And good to see you all. Good to see you, Maheshwari Devi Dasi, and Lynn is with us today. Actually, I shouldn't start naming devotees because I won't get through everyone's names. And we are on Facebook also, and dear devotees on Facebook and on Zoom, and who are seeing the recorded version, we are with you happily. And why? We want to actually please Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. So it's in service to our masters, and they want that the message of their masters will be distributed. So as far as we can, we try to express their mood, their nature, what we've heard, and we're here to serve. Back to basics, or even back to basics, devotional, the basis of devotional life, with our feet on the ground, looking up through the telescope of the Parampara system. Srila Guru Maharaj used that example that apparently if we put something between our eye and something else, and we may think, oh, that's going to be a disturbance or an obstacle, it'll be opaque, but then gives the example of a telescope, where in a telescope you've got glass, you've got something between you and the moon or the stars, and then not only one thing, you've got one piece of glass, another piece of glass, but by that process, actually what is distant is drawn close to us. So every mundane example is only a form of illustrating something. It's not an example for every circumstance of a telescope, but it gives us some idea of the importance of the devotees, and means the pure devotees, the lens, not only just a piece of glass, but a properly qualified piece of glass, a properly prepared piece of glass. Then that is a lens. We'll put one lens in front of another, and then we will find that something very distant appears nearby. So we're at Govinda Farm and Kumkum and Srila Devi Dasi in the United States, Maheshwari in the United States, Helene in the United States, and Amarinda. Always trip up on your name. And Vaidehi Devi Dasi, just see, United States. And Harini and Hoshwe and everybody else is somewhere else, but lots of devotees from America today. Aparajita is there in Thailand, along with the devotees of Govinda Farm, which she's up in a little bit further north in Thailand. Radha Sundari, Devi Dasi, and team perhaps back in Mayapur and Pavan Krishna Babu in Thailand too, and Sevarupa Devi Dasi in South Africa. And yesterday, then talking quite a lot about South Africa, and Nama Priya Devi Dasi, she is very impressed by the South African devotees, by the way. And we were thinking, how different is Latvia than South Africa? Very different environment. But the environment and the practice of Krishna consciousness, they are two different things. And Rupa Nuga Prabhu, by the way, how could we miss noticing Rupa Nuga Prabhu? He is there in Thailand, I do believe. He is in Thailand now, unless suddenly gone somewhere else, but he was in Thailand. All right. So yes, Latvia and South Africa, quite a difference in the external environment. But Nama Priya, she was really explaining with the public, with the devotees, and explaining about how we must appreciate what we have in this world. And in Latvia, very different, really, about being able to walk freely anywhere, single young ladies not in danger to walk in the evening. Quite a surprise. Hare Krishna. All right, so Krishna consciousness. There is another environment. It's called Goloka Vrindavan, where not only it's safe, it is nourishing everywhere, always. There's no distrust, there's no exploitation, there's no tinge of anything in a personal way. Everything's for Krishna. And what a wonderful land it is. And it's the dream of dreams, in the sense of, wouldn't it be wonderful if there was such a place? But there is such a place. And that comes not from children's storybooks. That comes from the gravest, most sincere, serious masters, not practitioners, but masters of spiritual life. That means it comes from the great masters, coming from Vyasadeva down through our Parampara system to the present day. Hare Krishna. And in Villa Govinda recently, in Villa Govinda Ashram recently, we were reading the Parampara system, the whole Parampara, beginning from Krishna to Brahma, and then step by step, the whole Parampara. And gradually we may come to know some of the personalities. Know of them, something about the personalities in the line coming down from Brahma to the present day. But whether we know anything about them and relate something to, this person is like this person is like this, in at least we can hear the names of these great personalities and know that this is that Parampara system, the lenses, as we say, the lenses between us and the Supreme Lord. And just hearing their names is so wonderful. So the names of Krishna, we know, all powerful. The names of the Vaishnavas are all powerful too. All right, I do have sleeping souls just nearby. Well, just right through this glass door, which is not a very thick door. So I'm trying to speak a little quietly today. And I would like to pass over the microphone for others to make some sound, and in the form of whatever you have to help us be devotees this week.
Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes.
Yes, I'm here writing goal setting in Thailand, and I want to mention Krishna consciousness. Is Krishna consciousness, in human historical terms, the earliest known spiritual belief in human terms?
Do you consider Lord Brahma human?
No, I mean, I wish to express it that I wanted to say in my book, Krishna Consciousness, the earliest religion as man would understand, or humans would understand. Is it the earliest known religion, or?
Krishna consciousness of Krishna directly. Well, I mean, we accept that Lord Brahma is human. I mean, we are all humans, but he's like the king of kings in the material world. And he is Krishna conscious. Read Brahma Samhita and you see his penances, his austerities from knowing nothing, from means, of course, he's born as a fully intelligent person, but why am I here? What is my duty? All of this, he was struggling for a long, long time, trying to understand his birth within darkness and his coming up and down the lotus, the lotus stem, searching everywhere. And finally, when he understands that by himself he cannot sort out the problem, as it were, to understand what is what. At that time when he had to give up all his own endeavors to try to work it out, as it were, then he surrendered to the unknown. In other words, dear Lord Creator, whoever has made me and made wherever I'm seated, I give up. Now I just surrender to you. And please reveal my purpose, what is what, all this. And then came Brahma Samhita. So he is a person, and he is the original person in the universe, as opposed to the Lord, because the Lord himself appears within the universe as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And one, step by step by step, then the lotus is born from him, but he first makes half the ocean, half of the hole in the middle of the universe full of water lies on that ocean. I mean, creation is amazing when you read Srimad Bhagavatam. And also, creation is very pleasing to hear when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, because everything is coming from the person, the Supreme Person. But Vishnu Tattva, which means God, the Supreme Lord, and his duplications of himself or partial duplications, different standards of duplications. God, which was called Vishnu Tattva, and Jiva Tattva. Jiva Tattva are the living entities, the sparks of the Supreme Lord. So Jiva Tattva, the first in the universe, is Lord Brahma. And he's, well, we can't exactly say like you and like me, but he's a very exalted you or me. So he's the first person in the universe with great power, as a result of great austerity and so many things. And he is Krishna conscious. He becomes Krishna conscious. So indeed, Krishna consciousness is the first. But the thing with Krishna consciousness is it is not an ism, although we say Vaishnavism. It's the goal that everyone is striving for, including the firstborn, Lord Brahma. He didn't know, and he's trying to find out when he fully surrenders, when he realizes that himself, even though very super capable personality, by himself he cannot understand. Then when he surrendered, then step by step, the revelation, revealed truth came to him. So truth that is a product of our brain, we may be able to make a nice painting with a paintbrush and everything, but in our mind, to paint who is Krishna, who is God, truth which is self-generated is not, it's only a part truth. It's our idea of what could be. But our idea of what could be, anything, Sydney in Australia, for someone who's not been to Sydney, they can get some idea. But to go to Sydney, then you get all the full environment. It's a very crude example. But revealed truth is revealed truth. This is fact. Here is fact. And as Srila Prabhupada said, when they were painting the pictures, the artists were painting Krishna, and Srila Prabhupada was giving direction. We hear from Srila Prabhupada's disciples that he was giving direction, and then devotees, somebody said to Srila Prabhupada, does Krishna really look like this? And Srila Prabhupada apparently commented that, well, not exactly, but you'll recognize him when you see him. You won't need somebody else to say, oh, by the way, that was Krishna. So Krishna consciousness. You are writing a book, but I'm reminded of one devotee, and his name was Bhargava. We knew him. And still he's in the world. He's not left. Many of our associates, they have left the world, but Bhargava Prabhu, until recently at least, was still living. And he was writing a book, and he was asking Guru Maharaj some points. And Guru Maharaj, he answered the points, but also said to him that you must be very careful. You must know what you're writing. If you're going to write about Krishna consciousness, if you're going to write about reality, you must be acquainted with that reality. And we should not give improper information or our idea. We can give our idea from our perspective, making it clear that who is writing the book and who we are. But when it's revealed truth, we do need to send the sincere souls to Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada. And there they will get reality, Bhagavad Gita as it is. But to share our experiences, to share things which we feel will give inspiration to others, that is a safe place. And say, this is our experience. But if we are going to represent the upper world, we must remember what we say in the Western world, what is our pay grade. We shouldn't go above our pay grade. If we know something about electricity, plus or minus, alternating current, this, that, and the other, we can say something. And you can also say something, don't touch the wire, you'll get a shock. But we're not going to be the person who is going to explain the intricacies of making a mobile phone and all the things that go into, resistors and combining resistors with condensers, with chips, with tomato sauce, and all sorts of other things. So Krishna consciousness, it is the consciousness, as Brihad Bhagavatamritam shows, the journey of Gopakumar. It's the consciousness that everywhere is pointing up towards. And some may not have that good fortune, Bhagyavana Jeev, to go all the way to Krishna consciousness. They may be in Vishnu, Narayan consciousness. So we must be conscious that we can accept revealed truth, but revelation, revelation coming in different ways to different persons. But there is gradation always, and there is gradation in revelation. And Brahma Samhita is very short, but very full. But in order to understand this, we need Guru and Gauranga. And there we've got the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but we've got the golden volcano of divine love. We've got the search for Sri Krishna, reality, the beautiful. The Lord's loving search for his lost servant. There we've got descriptions by the masters, not the students, but the masters. Even though the masters consider themselves as students, as Guru Maharaj said, I consider myself a student. What to speak of all of you? When the young ones are trying to tell Guru Maharaj what is what, they've understood everything. Hare Krishna. And if something comes to mind, oh, well, we've got at least two. We've got, as we said last time, perhaps we may think, yes, we've got two senior devotees. We do have two senior devotees with us. But actually, all of you are coming in, are considered in the senior category for those who are coming. As we pointed out, somebody who had been 2 or 4 years in the mission when we joined, then they were definitely senior. And all of you, most of you have been around for 2 years, 4 years. We've been around in devotional service. And those who have not been around yet for 2 or 4 years, soon you will be. And just to be in it, when we joined the temple, somebody who was 1 month older than us in the temple, they are our seniors, and we are hearing from them. So we have it, we have something to give just by coming to the line, just by giving our attention, our energy, our time, the things that are valuable to us, giving for Krishna consciousness, then we've got something, and that we can share. But we do have Kumkumdiri and Sri Lekha. Perhaps they would like to give a little further insight. I feel that there's definitely more to say. And so Kumkumdiri, on this idea, is Krishna consciousness the original, the first religion? There's a question for clarification to Rupanuga Prabhu.
My Dandavat Pranam Maharaj and Rupanuga Prabhu and all of the Vaishnavas here. The first thing that comes to me is simply that I can't think of Krishna consciousness as a religion, rather the eternal dharma of the jiva soul, as you were explaining. It is reality. It's not an ism. So I don't know if that's a very helpful answer, but that's the only way I can think of it. And so many things have branched. Let's see, we'll hear something like, if it comes to an artist painting a picture, hearing from Srila Prabhupada how to paint a picture of Krishna, and he does his best or her best, and then gets all of this feedback. And religious conceptions are a little bit like that, hearing something, doing the best they can to arrive at what they believe to be the highest way to express something that they're inspired by. But alas, depending on many, many things, it may branch out into all sorts of diversions, some of which are not helpful at all, some of which are somewhat helpful. But that's why we feel so blessed, because it's just so astonishing what we have here. Is that at all a good answer for you, Prabhu? Happily there in the bamboo house?
Yeah, thank you for that answer. Yes, I was only in every book, I've got 10 being published this year. I want to mention just the word or Krishna consciousness. In this case, I might even just, because in my original text that I wrote years and years ago, before I was even very slightly consciously aware, of Krishna, I'd put, you may wish to study the Quran, the Bible, and I was going to add in the book that's going to be published on Kindle within the month, and Krishna consciousness. So that was the reason for and I was going to put the earliest, because I'm writing to people who are not Krishna conscious, and I was going to put the earliest religion that I fully understand, as you both explained, that it's not a religion, but to a typical unaware person, I have to speak in their language, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I won't reach them. It's only just one sentence, but I'm just including the Bhagavad Gita, maybe, or something they can read to study Krishna consciousness.
I believe we've heard all of our gurus, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Gurudev, express it as origin of all religions. That might sound like their language.
Yes. Yes, thank you. That's what I want. Yes.
And there is a gentle danger with referring to Bhagavad Gita, and it sounds terrible to say that, but we have experience of yesterday, it means very fresh experience, that referring to Bhagavad Gita, and then there was one intelligent, bright person, and they were in another program some time ago, many months ago, and then they read Bhagavad Gita, but they read Bhagavad Gita by somebody who really has messed up their minds. And it's very difficult when somebody first reads Gita or the scripture from a distorted point of view, then to try to explain, well, that's a distorted point of view. And the clear point of view is this. It is difficult because what we first learn tends to stick with us. And I have experience of that from my the school days. One teacher tells us, and then you get another teacher, they tell you something a little different. You automatically think the second one is wrong. It's just kind of there. And so anyway, one danger of just referring to Gita is most of the Gitas out there on the shelf in the library or whatever, the bookshop, they are not giving Bhagavad Gita as it is, or the hidden treasure of Bhagavad Gita. They're giving interpretation of Bhagavad Gita to cloud God. And God, the personality of God, is the all-important thing. So it is, I wonder whether when you refer people, say, read Bhagavad Gita as it is, or something specific, because we do need to hear about the goal of all religion from someone who knows it. So anyway, I just add that I don't have a direct solution to say, instead your sentence should say this, but it is a comment from yesterday's experience. And we feel sad when somebody who's sort of so near their inquiring, sincere seeker, they get to read something, and I don't know the person, but immediately here, devotee Suresh Krishna, he knew, I don't know how he knew, but he knew the author of that Bhagavad Gita. And said, what is there is terrible. So anyway, just a comment. And for for beginners, back to basics, for us all, we should still read Bhagavad Gita as it is, as well as Bhagavad Gita, the hidden treasure, with the purports, with Srila Prabhupada, telling us, fools and rascals, yes, that's me, Srila Prabhupada, I know. And we need to be told, otherwise we start thinking, no, we are very smart. I'm not a fool, I'm very intelligent. Srila Devi Dasi, would you like to add a wise comment? a further wise comment. I mean, not I made any wise comment. Kumkum, I'm referring to Kumkum's contribution. Where is Sri Lekha gone? Is she here? Oh, here. Okay, thank you for waving.
Dandavat Maharaj and Dandavat devotees. Oh my goodness. It's such a treat to see everyone. Well, I think that when I can only give something from my own experience, of course, about this. And we are trying to preach to people, so many different kinds of people. But recently, someone contacted me about being on their program. It has this many viewers and that many viewers and everything. And I had to look into that. Can you hear me, Mark?
Yes. Yes. Da. Si. Oui.
And looking through that, I found that this person was trying to please everybody. And we just can't do that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not, this is just my comment on it in general, not specifically about what's been said, but I find that, even I was speaking to someone who's a yoga teacher, and she was talking to me about yoga, and I was saying, and I said something to her. I said, and according to the scriptures, which are the origin of all conceptions of yoga, the whole goal of yoga is love of God. And she was she was really touched by that. And I think that we can be direct like that. We don't sort of have to compromise too much, we don't want to compromise actually, but we want to just explain everything as the essence of the goal of everything, which is finally to understand that there are gradations of love of God, like you were saying, Maharaj. There are gradations of love of God. And if we just put everything out on the table objectively, we can see that the highest love of God must not have any motive for personal gain. And that religion is often kind of motivated like that. And with all due respect, the scriptures want us to go beyond that kind of, beginner stage. They want us to we might be motivated to do something nice for our mother because she's going to give us a reward. But higher than that is doing it because you have a duty to do. And higher than that is love. Without any idea of duty and without any idea of what I'm going to get out of it. It's just, I have affection for you and I want to serve you. And so we can see that the scriptures have gradation, but they're not against each other. It's just going from a more kind of beginner stage of understanding to a more deep and more, higher and noble kind of relationship with the Lord. And that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to actually to bring us to that atmosphere of really pure love of God. And, discussing things from that point of view is so universal that it doesn't have to really refer to this and that so much. It is something that everyone can go, oh, yes, I can see that. Yeah, that's a very beautiful thing. Just love of God without any asking for anything, or not because I should do it, but because the heart can bloom. And the holy name of the Lord, it is actually the essence of that love, and awakens that love and clears and purifies everything that is not that love from the heart. And so this Hare Krishna mantra is, that thing, that pure love, the Lord, and, so many things like that are very universal and don't have to sort of refer to this and that and that and that, and that everyone can understand that. You know what I mean? You don't have to say, well, but we believe in that and that, but it's not necessary to do that, because I really think that these universal principles that have been given to us, by our divine Guru Varga, I think they appeal to the heart of persons, and those who have Sukriti, they're going to recognize something. And those who don't, they don't. We don't really have to bend over too much. We want to say something that is universally attractive to everyone without a compromise, and just relying, and with our goodwill, with trying to carry the goodwill of our gurus, try to give something that is really beyond all these little varieties of things. That's just what I'm thinking about, Maharaj, in relation to that.
And Rupa Nugaru's got some feedback, maybe. Oh no, he's got a drink. Freshly squeezed fruit juice. Oh, sing well the glass. We won't judge a book by its cover in this case. Hare Krishna. Amarinda, yes, you have a question. Now, Amarinda and Vaidehi Devi Dasi are a source of questions, and I actually have a list of questions from Vaidehi Devi Dasi, which I thought, okay, I can address some of these on a Zoom, but I'm not sure my brain is up to it for today, because it's early in the morning, and we've had quite an intense program the last couple of days. Anyway, Amarinda, will you tax our brain a lot or just a little? Your question.
It's Vaidehi's question, so.
Oh, it's Vaidehi's question. Oh, it's Vaidehi's question. Okay, everyone please listen. We may ask you to answer. Yes, Vaidehi, what is your question?
Dandavat, everyone. And actually, it's not a question. I wanted to just, what Sri Leka was saying, I really love hearing this. And I just wanted to kind of echo off of it and how helpful it is to have that hearing and confirmation. And I wanted to share some experience on what you're saying, if I may. I've been kind of thinking a lot about, I haven't actually been thinking about anything. I've been continuing to share about Krishna consciousness, and just kind of watching my own gradation of sharing. And like what you're saying, I've been in different phases or stages or styles of presenting, and at different times. And right now, what I'm realizing looking back is, there's been this desire to want to share Krishna consciousness with people in a way that will be like accommodating to whatever, the universal thing, or like the common speak, or like what's cool. And there's been this, maybe not like a fear, but not wanting to say, oh, God or Lord, but being like the supreme person, or trying to find other ways. And what I've found that over time, those people that approach, they're insincere anyway. And so it's like, there's no need to like dance around and like sugarcoat anything. And what I found is that as soon as I decided that, like, you know what, I don't really care about like, kind of, because here in California where we live, there's so much yoga and spirituality and like different yoga clothing brands and incense brands and crystal beads, and everyone's just like so spiritual. And it gets really frustrating because they have this concept of kirtan, and it's really like this like narcissistic self-singing experience. And so after just observing a lot of that and being at a lot of different kinds of festivals, sharing workshops and singing on the stages, I just found that like, no, like I want to give this as clear as possible. And then in this kind of frame of thinking, started coming up with this, like, yeah, like bhakti yoga as it is, kirtan as it is, please. And so then decided to share about, you know, what is kirtan and what is mahamantra, and really starting to delineate that it's not about you, it's about Krishna. It's about singing for Krishna, who is God. And I found that the more like clear and sharp my messaging gets, the more like substantial the quality of the people that show up are. And I just wanted to say that, oh my gosh, it's been so necessary and important to just really come to what is Krishna consciousness as it is. And I think by the association of Madhusudan Maharaj and the devotees there in Villa Govinda Ashram, we recently went to visit, I walked away with that like kind of feeling in my heart by their association of just more purity in what's being presented. And it's been so much more productive, if you will, in reaching people in a more substantial way. So yes, it's true.
Just now I'm in Latvia, by the way. We were in a town called, I'm not sure what its name, Latvia, anyway, something like this yesterday. And Suresh Krishna here, he's very like sincere and simple-hearted, sincere sharer of Krishna consciousness. And in this same town, a little while ago, he did a program and he promoted it with this bhakti yoga and this yoga theme. And it is bhakti yoga, but because that word yoga is associated with, you know, the modern day things, and what starts in California spreads all over the world. So I mean, I got a feel of that when Vaidehi just now was saying this about, you know, this yoga, this, and everyone's spiritual. Well, this kind of comes across all over the world now. We see it. And anyway, he did a program some time ago with that as the bait, you know, this yoga thing is, and then anyway, yesterday we made a program, he made a program and we attended it, and it was direct advertising. It's in Russian, so I can't read it. Now I don't even know where the little thing is. But it was not about yoga. It was about, and it was like directly about Krishna consciousness, basically. And who came? Everybody was, like, they come for searching for reality, not for yoga or anything else. And not one person left. And I was surprised how many people were there in a town which has very few people in all, you know, a very quiet town. And I was surprised how many were there. And Suresh Krishna, he was surprised. And he said, actually, when we do this yoga thing, always some people are disappointed. And even they come with their yoga mats, they're thinking it's going to be something like yoga, like we've been doing. But he said, when now we've given directly. And the place, by the way, I saw the place that we were doing the program before I knew that we were doing a program there. And the name of the place is Interesting People's Club, or Club of Interesting People, which I thought was an interesting way of mentioning it. And maybe I can show a picture, because I took a photograph of it before I knew we were going to be there. And this is the place. And we were stopped at the traffic lights on the corner, and I saw the place. My first thing was, oh, look, there's a saffron building. And then they said, oh, you know what's written there? This. Even in, you know, we don't know Latvian, but still we can see more or less. It's an Interesting People's Club. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I said, well, that's where you're giving the talk. Oh, okay. So it gave us a good entrance to beginning with showing Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, Srila Saraswati Thakur, and explaining to them, you know, how not only interesting, but you should, if you're interested in interesting people, you should prick up your ears and listen to the message of these persons. And so anyway, it was a very directly advertised place. And Suresh Krishna's comments, he said afterwards, he said he was so surprised. He said, we're always trying to give something to attract people, and often through the yoga schools or yoga idea. But this one, we put up direct advertising, and the people who came wanted to hear. And we had around, in ordinary talking, 35, I suppose, people there, 35 guests, which not bad. In Vaishnava counting, that's a lot more, by the way, but in real counting, it was 35, and nobody left. And really, it was interesting to see the direct approach to tell Krishna consciousness from Suresh Krishna Prabhu's point of view, and from our point of view, that you've come to hear something. Then let us share something of these truly interesting persons.
Yeah, Jai. You don't want to cheat them.
No, we don't want to cheat them. And if we are new, if we are coming and we have some interest, we want to be told the truth. And that goes on all levels. It goes on all levels. We want to be told the truth, not just as this expression, to please, to please everybody.
Hare Krishna.
As Sri Lekha was saying, this idea that we please everybody, not possible. I mean, which Sri Lekha did was saying this is not our purpose, direct. By the way, a little bit along the lines of Rupa Nogapu's question, here is a question from Priya Devi Dasi. I shall be her spokesman. So Mahaprabhu, here's a question. Kumkum Devi Dasi, perhaps we can pass this one to you. Mahaprabhu inaugurated devotion, bhakti. He distributed this with the holy name. Okay, but did devotional service exist before his time, and was it known as bhakti yoga? Here's a Vaidehi question. Did I represent your question properly? She sent me a long audio message that I realized got so many questions in here. On the airplane, I had the headphones on and I transcribed Vaidehi's audio message. So I have a 5-page transcription here. No, it's not. It's not 5 pages, but Kumkum Didi, would you like to comment on this question?
I'm just so happy I have somewhere to ask these questions. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. We are very fortunate indeed, and this one gives me a good reason to contemplate. I've always heard the devotees in Goloka Vrindavan referred to as devotees, which is bhaktas. And so I don't think there's any doubt as to whether or not this predates Mahaprabhu 500 years ago or 600 years ago. But I don't think I've ever heard whether it was called bhakti yoga. So I'm glad the question came up. Yoga is a Sanskrit word. It means that union, correct? Union through, so I believe the conception is eternal. But I don't know if we hear about them practicing bhakti yoga. So back to you, Maharaj.
But these definitions of yoga, something yoga, this comes to when we start to analyze spiritual life, analyze different ways of trying to get self-improvement or to improve our life through selflessness and through gyan, through all these good karma and things to begin with. So it's when we start to analyze it, we start giving a name for this and a name for that. And also, yes, I can't think that the gopis are going around and say, oh, back to yoga. It's just love of God and it is service. But when we analyze, so they call it, when you're trying to understand God by reason, then it's jnana yoga. Then, so when we try to understand the Lord by being selfless, then karma yoga, and then all the different categories that are going up. So yes, I would also go along those lines, that bhakti yoga is when we start to analyze and give names to within the analysis and the different departments. But again, it comes down to this attraction about yoga. It's called bhakti yoga.
May I jump in for a moment?
It's your question. You may jump in indeed.
Yes. So the intention behind the question is to establish that Krishna consciousness is supreme and superior to everything. And obviously, like the concept of Sanatan Dharma is playing out, right? The eternal, inherent, intrinsic nature is to be in service, and that's why it's like the original religion, if you will. Also, the other day I was reading Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life and precepts, and I heard it being referred to as Vaishnavism, and how Bhaktivinoda Thakur was introduced to Vaishnavism and received his first Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita in 1868, and then printed the first Vaishnav magazine, and 1 year later opened the first like Vaishnav printing press. And so that was really nice because it kind of answered a little bit of that. So I'm looking to try to, because people ask this question, and Mahaprabhu came to establish Mahamantra and this whole thing, but how, and people want to understand like where it comes from. And then Krishna was here in a different age. Krishna consciousness, Vaishnavism was happening then. So that's where it's coming from. I'm trying to establish that it's really like the original process.
Okay, good.
So that's why I'm trying to, I think, Maharaj, what you said when you first started, that you're reading about the Parampara from Lord Brahma down and Krishna down, I think that would also be helpful in this kind of case of what I'm trying to present for those people that are asking those questions.
Where is everything pointing? This we can consider. And that's where Srila Guru Maharaj says that the Vedas, they say that they are like way markers, they're the signboards pointing in the direction. And what is that direction? When the Vedas get the revelation from Krishna consciousness, they are stunned and say, oh, please excuse, we could not express properly what is that destination.
I mean, this is all discussed in the
Oh, yes,
Bhagavatam.
Srileka, yes.
I'm sorry, Maharaj. I'm sorry, I really thought you were stopped. But I mean, Srimad Bhagavatam is the whole treatise on bhakti. Like, and Srila Vyasadeva, I mean, this is such a long time ago. And Mahaprabhu is always quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam also. But, Veda Vyas, wrote down all the Vedas and completely despondent afterwards. He was unhappy, and Narada Muni, his guru, says, oh, my son, what's the matter? He said, well, I've just given the peace formula and I have no peace. I have no happiness. I wrote down the Vedas, I organized them, Ganesh wrote them down, everything was, and I have no happiness from that. And Narada Muni gave him such a big chastisement. You're just foolish, you've done wrong. You've done wrong. And he said, and Vyasadeva tells this story himself, but he said, you have, what you say, everyone will believe it. And you haven't told anything. Everyone will think that this process of karma kanda, jnana kanda, the mystic yoga systems, and all these gradual this and that, that this is all there is. And they'll believe you, but you have done wrong. You didn't say anything about what is real life of the soul. And so you need to take care of this, and I'll give you 4 seed verses, and you expand those. And that was the Srimad Bhagavatam, but that is all about devotion. It's all about bhakti. And so,
And
but
also
what
very,
Maharaj,
sorry,
well,
my
Maharaj,
turn to think. I thought you finished, sorry. I was just going to say, and this is also very similar to this idea of if we only attract people by yoga or by astrology or by whatever it may be, then this is like all the different departments of the Veda, which are attracting people by catching their particular interest. But what is necessary, as Narada Muni pointed out to Veda Vyas, is to give. Okay, you're attracting, but you must give what is the goal. What are you attracting them to, and not to say that this is all in all, or to imply that. And so the Srimad Bhagavatam came, the ripened fruit of the Veda. So also in our presentations, just like Vaidehi is pointing out, as it is, he wants to give back to yoga as it is, or this idea. And as Suresh Krishna pointed out yesterday, we give direct message in a class and in the advertising for the class, and the direct message is all important, and all the other things there, or drawing from the periphery, if you like. And in some cases, by the way, we can think, if somebody comes with no yoga knowledge and hasn't read any book about, the meditation and where you go in your spiritual life and all kinds of things, and the all is one bliss, etc. If someone hasn't read about the interpretations of taking bits of the Veda, then they may well be better off, because you don't have to unlearn. And this point about what we first learn, it is very difficult to then say, oh, well, yes, you learned that, but it's wrong. Oh, what? But he's a great yogi. He's written this book. His hair goes down to his knees, all these other things. So straight to the point, this idea. By the way, Vaidehi in her questions also asked, is the word Vaishnavism, was that around before? But Vaishnavism, this Vaishnav actually is a worship of God, means worship of God. And Vaishnava comes from the word Vishnu, but more fine, I think the word is Karshana, is it? For the worship of Krishna, that specifically the worship of Krishna is maybe the word Karshana. It somehow is in my memory, something like that, memory or not, my head, whatever's in my head, this word Karshana. And so anyhow, again, putting names to something which is our very original nature, that is love of God, love of Krishna, lovers of Krishna. They're not thinking themselves in an ism department. It's an analytical section which are giving names to different things to differentiate the worship of God as opposed to worship of the devas, sometimes put as demigods. But devas means the great personalities in the material world. So generally in India, you see the worship of the devas to get some result. But then the Vaishnava section is worshipping the Supreme Lord. But that has got infinite variety, because every manifestation of the Lord has his own planet where he's got his own devotees. They're all Vaishnava, but I think his Karshana is the technical word for those who worship Krishna. But we're not really interested in the technical words in that sense, but that heart matter of love of God. And we shouldn't beat around the bush. We should just say, yes, love of God. Krishna is the embodiment of love of God. Read the introduction to Search for Sri Krishna. Read chapter 1 of Search for Sri Krishna. We don't even have to go beyond there. That Krishna he is the rasa, he is life, he is the personality. To have any taste and love or anything means personality. And who is the supreme personality? He is Krishna. He must be Krishna-centered, the origin of love, beauty, sweetness, charm, the Lord of love. the Lord of beauty, sweetness, and charm. We need to wake up our dormant love of God. And Guru Maharaj explained that we know we've got coverings over our soul. I think I'm a person. I think I'm this. I think I'm that. We've got unlimited gross and subtle coverings. And Guru Maharaj pointed out, when every misconception, when every covering is removed, what's left behind? Just like we say, all the Vedas, they're taking you somewhere. What's left when you come to the final destination, as it were? So when you take off the misconception, what's left behind of us? It's a devotee. The nature of the jiva soul is to be a devotee of the Lord. So it's the very natural function of the person, of us. We say the soul, spiritual, but it's us, ourselves, consciousness, willing, feeling, thinking. Okay, that's us. And not mud, which is our body. Oh, yeah. Okay, we should come to Maheshwari. She put her hand up some time ago. Maheshwari, okay, an hour is very short sometimes once we start to discuss topics about Krishna. Maheshwari, Didi, please, your contribution or your question.
Well, I just to Vaidehi's point about the different ages, I guess my question would be, is it possible that, Mahaprabhu came in a particular age and said, for this age, this is the practice. Chant, Hare Krishna, and, basically Bhakti Yoga was the emphasis, but perhaps in different ages, is it possible that there were different emphasis on how to be a devotee?
The answer is yes. Prescribed duty for the prescribed age. But as Guru Maharaj also pointed out, so do we think that we are thinking, oh, Satya Yuga, everyone was Krishna conscious, but it was not so. But they were Vishnu conscious, they were very pious, they were honest, they were truthful, they were everything auspicious. But Krishna consciousness, that secret place in the highest quarter of Vaikuntha, that was somewhat sealed up. But this Krishna consciousness in Kali Yuga has been opened up through the Lord himself coming to give us the strongest medicine for the worst time, and that strongest medicine must take us from the lowest position, otherwise it's not the strongest, and take us to the highest position, otherwise it's not the highest. So yes, there were different prescribed duties in different ages, but it's this age that is the most favorable age to go to our full home, and that land is Krishna. So we worship Kali Yuga for that reason. And in the Bhagavatam, there is also the description that the great souls in the higher planetary systems, which is, you can say, like Satya Yuga, everything is very perfect and going on smoothly, you can say, well, more or less, they still get disturbances as we read in the scriptures. But from the higher planetary systems, those who are intelligent and wise want to take their birth now in Kali Yuga, and especially this Kali Yuga, because it's Avatari Krishna who came at the end of Dwapara Yuga. It's Avatari Gauranga, means the origin of all avatars, not the Lord manifesting as a himself representative, as it were, or the expansion of himself. But the original Lord comes in this Kali Yuga to distribute the highest thing. So other ages, there's fire, there's the yagyas, the fire yagya, there is the temple worship, etc. But in this age, we don't have the opulence to do all those things. We don't have the capacity to chant the correct mantras. We don't have all of these things, but we do have the mercy of the Lord himself in the form of the Maha Mantra. So Kali Yuga is a very fortunate time And we must keep on slapping our own cheeks and waking up to use our time properly. Yesterday also we went to a place called Awake Park. It's written in English, Awake Park. I thought, what's in Awake Park? So we started chanting, Jeev Rago, Jeev. We have to become awake to our potential opportunity, good fortune right now, not as a theoretical matter. Yeah. And as quickly as possible, let people know. One thing is, when we are in the public arena, as it were, the public means people need an introduction, a way in to Krishna consciousness. It's very much needed. Otherwise, the things of this world just taking everybody's attention. But there are those who are searching. And if we put up an honest sign over the door and an honest, invitation for searchers, here we've got the message of the greatest researchers. So as directly as possible. So yes, there were different processes in different ages, but now we need to, rather than be always analytical, one day we have to wake up and say, but right now, whatever's been in the past, okay, many things great, many things ungreat in the past, but right now is the best time. So let's not just read the history books about the Roman Empire and the glories of the Roman Empire. We need to see the present day, which is in our hand. So live in the living present. Let the past bury its past, and the future is just a dream. Yes. All right. And by the way, at the beginning, we were talking about South Africa and the different gradations of the world, different environments. And Mathura Basini is also with us today on the Facebook, and Madhava Prabhu, Brajamohini, and others too. Little list of devotees on Facebook. And we know some come to Facebook so they can participate quietly without the risk of me asking them a question. It's fine. It's all good. We are happy. And Mathura Basini, very happy to have you with us throughout the talk. And she didn't come to Latvia. No. There was one lady, Paunamasi from Mauritius, came to Latvia. She has seen the difference in life. Anyway, many things we can say. Oh, in the meantime, then Ananda Sundari Devi Dasi joined us. South Africa. Oh, South Africa is popping up. Ananda Sundari from South Africa also joined us. Muktinath Prabhu. He uses this picture of the Himalayas, drawing our consciousness to the Himalayas, to Veda Vyas. Yes, Muktinath Prabhu. To Veda Vyas, to his cave. And we have such wonderful memories of those places. Now we shudder to think what the modern concrete and science is doing to some of these places. But I think Veda Vyas's cave is still kept a little bit sanctum sanctorium, and hopefully has not become a commercial place. But again, take the best of everything, and we have these inspirational places that do exist, but the most inspirational is where the fountainhead of Guru Maharaj Gurudev's teachings, where the fountainhead of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's teachings, of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami's teachings took place. The place of Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, in Navadip. So let us not forget. Oh, we're over time, but Sevarupa, she's put here in the chat box, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, from the Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life and precepts. So please, we're over time, but where's Sevarupa? Would you like to read your contribution in the chat box? This is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, spoken by Sevarupa.
Pranams, Maharaj Nandavat, pranams, dear devotees. I was just trying to contribute in some way, and I'm not sure if it is helpful, but I think anything from the masters are helpful. So, Jai Gurudev. So the spirit of this text goes far to honor all great reformers and teachers who lived and will live in other countries. The Vaishnava is ready to honor all great men without distinction of caste, because they are filled with the energy of God. See how universal is the Vaishnava religion. It is not intended for a certain class of Hindus alone, but it is a gift to man at large, in whatever country he is born and in whatever society he is bred. In short, Vaishnavism is the absolute love binding together all men in the infinite, unconditioned, and absolute God. May peace reign forever in the whole universe, in the continual development of its purity, by the exertion of the future heroes who will be blessed, according to the promise of the Bhagavata, with powers from the Almighty Father, the Creator, Preserver, and Annihilator of all things in heaven and earth, from a lecture delivered by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in 1869 at Dinajpur. I'm not saying that right, West Bengal. And maybe I can just share a little bit. I know we're really over time, but I also find that very difficult as to what do I tell someone, how do I share with them, and on what level. And I think what also I think came about for me is that the holy name is really so powerful, and the holy name will just take them to where they need to be. And then I just there's a little pamphlet that I also got from the temple, which encompasses quite a lot. And I try and give them a pamphlet, and I just show them to the part where the holy name is. And yes, try and get myself out of that picture and just let whatever needs to be done. But just in a little way, that's what I try and do here. But Jai Gurudev.
Yes, beautifully expressed. Get ourselves out of the picture. Here's the substance. Yes. All right, beautiful. And yes, there is no doubt this is a super excerpt also. And what an excerpt for us to leave on, to meditate on. Ananda Sundari
And Gurudev,
Yes.
just to mention our interest fact, today is our BBBC number 500, and it is a really special team. Remind us about the basics of our devotional, preaching, and everything, and may it continue forever with back the basics.
Well, after 500, have we succeeded in establishing the foundation of our Krishna consciousness? We're still working on this foundation. We've got to make it very deep and very strong. All right, so 500th, back to basics. Ki Jai, well done to everybody. And it wouldn't be here if there wasn't the devotees to come and to reinforce with each other what is our devotional life. So all credit to all of the devotees. The living life of devotion is sadhu sangha. It is sadhu sangha. By ourselves to make just our 2 meter by 2 meter room or whatever it may be a giant house, but just to make our life our own bubble, it's not going to be successful. We need to be with the devotees, and with the devotees means like this. So we're able to share questions, answers, and bring the salient points from our masters to the attention, to focus on. And we've got our quotation, which again, I might not have it in perfect English, but the physical about our life, the physical is innocent. This is Srila Guru Maharaj. The physical is innocent. It is the mind that is the culprit. The physical, the body doesn't do anything without the mind. It's the mind which is the culprit. The mind is the seat of all the things which are causing us trouble. All right, dear devotees, lots more to be said. So let's come to we welcome you all, invite you all to the 501st back to basics in a few days' time. All right. So with great appreciation to all the speakers, all the hearers, all the rememberers, all the devotees. And devotee is a sweet word. And so is bhakti. Bhakti, bhakti yoga, but bhakti, bhakta. All right. So Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Deva Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rock Srila Deva Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Prabhupada Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. And Jai Om Vishnupad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. And each of our Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. All the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Vrinda giving us Mahaprabhu through Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. And Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda, unlimited devotees ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. And one or two devotees, we didn't give a mention, but please don't think we ignore you. Asha Purna Devi Dasi and Ganga Leela Didi. I saw just now Narayani, Nadia, maybe, or Narayani. We have more than one Narayan. Narayan is everywhere. He's in everyone's heart. Just see. But to each of you, super to have you all with us. We'll meet again very soon. And Nirupama Devi Dasi, also Nirupama joined on Facebook, and we're remembering you, and we're remembering actually all the devotees, but remembering you yesterday very much also. And the devotees have so much praise for your courage and the challenges you went through very recently. She knows what challenges she went through. All right, Nitai Gaur Narayani. Okay, got it. Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. And all at the Govinda farm, Priya Sundari Jai Goranga Leela Moy, to name you. You're already present in your forms, and we see. Hare Krishna. Amra Ashchi. Dandabad.